are some things that work a little bit and temporarily, etc. So prevention is the way to go.
Gotta start now.
Gotta start now, no matter what your age.
Mm-hmm.
So brain and memory, where should we begin?
So I think maybe we begin with what are some of the causes, or maybe we start with some of the, what are the early symptoms of brain inflammation? Because brain inflammation is one of the main reasons why memory starts to decline.
Okay, so what are some of the early signs of brain inflammation?
So some of the things to think about are brain fog, which a lot of people are always like, what's brain fog? And if you've experienced it, you know, it's like you can't really think clearly. You feel almost like there's a fog, something kind of blocking your brain from thinking clearly. Very slow thinking, slow reacting, depression, fatigue can even be a symptom.
Just as an aside,
Yeah.
isn't brain fog a common side effect of COVID?
It is. It is.
And I want to acknowledge Sharon's questions about bloating, etc. But we're going to try and stay on brain inflammation. So Sharon, if you want to ask us offline, feel free to, I guess, post your questions in Instagram. You know, the non-brain stuff. So, but we'll also answer your brain questions. So, COVID is one of the things that can cause brain fog, but many other things can cause brain fog as well, like brain inflammation.
Yep. So, Sharon asked how to lower inflammation. And the same would go, this is for kids or adults, right? It's figuring out what's causing the inflammation in the first place. So looking at gut health is a big one. Looking at your diet, are you eating anything that's relatively inflammatory? Sometimes when we change up the diet, like people say they think clearer, the brain fog's lifted, they have more energy. Lifestyle changes, are you spending a ton of time on technology? That can really cause brain inflammation and reduce your memory. Are you under a lot of stress? Do you have any metabolic diseases, or do you have high blood sugar, which you might not have any symptoms of like any brain issues, but type 2 diabetes is now Alzheimer's is now being considered type 3 diabetes because a lot of this is a blood sugar issue. High blood sugar increases the metabolic rate of brain cells and can actually cause brain inflammation and issues with memory.
So first a comment and then a question. Just to clarify what you just said, if we had a medicine to reduce brain inflammation, would it make more sense to take that pill to reduce the inflammation or to not cause the inflammation in the first place? I think the answer is obvious.
If it were that simple, we would have a drug to do it.
But also, should we cause it and then treat it?
No.
Exactly. So, Sharon, think about that. The other thing that comes to mind is, you know, often after we eat, we get that sleepy, brain foggy feeling. Is that a side effect of a spike in blood sugar that's causing like a little brain inflammation and causing us to zone out?
It's usually a sign of like really high blood sugar that then might drop immediately. So you might feel that as fatigue, brain fog. Like a lot of people say they want to take a nap after lunch. That's not normal. It's not normal. So yeah, absolutely.
So is that because we've caused a spike in blood sugar, a drop in blood sugar and brain inflammation in response to that? Or is it all about the blood sugar?
No, it definitely is causing some level of brain inflammation. I just don't know if every single time, but like it's building that up. Exactly. It's like low level chronic inflammation. Yeah.
When you talk about the type 3 diabetes, it's that spike in blood sugar. So just to go deep a little bit for 1 second, what are the typical things that cause that huge spike and drop in blood sugar at a meal?
So first of all, going too
because
long.
You would think, I'm sorry to just
no, it's good.
You would think that brain inflammation is caused in a big way by what we're eating.
Absolutely. Yes.
So how should we manage our meals so that doesn't happen?
So there's a few key things to keep in mind. One is that one reason why this might happen is because you've gone too long without eating in the first place. And I'm not talking about overnight. Your body's meant to rest and restore. But when you are skipping meals, going 6-7 hours between the meals, thinking that you're intermittent fasting in the middle of the day because you're having breakfast and dinner but no lunch, you are going to likely be starving at that meal. Your blood sugar is really low to start. It's going to skyrocket after that meal. And then you're going to have that drop, right? We're causing a blood sugar roller coaster. That's one thing. Two is actually what you're eating. So there's a lot of people that are like, I eat really healthy, but I skip a lot of meals. That's going to cause it, right? But then there's also the people that really don't eat that healthy or don't really know what to eat. And foundationally, really what you want to focus on is having some sort of protein and or fat with a meal, as well as some sort of fiber, aka like a vegetable of some sort. The problem is a lot of people are eating like a very carb heavy meal. And that in itself could be causing this blood sugar roller coaster. So really thinking about the things that stabilize blood sugar in the first place, which is going to be protein and fat and fiber.
So a perfect meal is protein, fat, and fiber?
Yep. And if you want to have some carb, great, but make it a side.
Make it a
side. Like if you're looking at a plate, you want at least half the plate to be vegetables or fiber. You want about a quarter, maybe a little more, depending on how your size, to be protein. And then you can, if you want, or you don't need it, could be like a starchy source. I shouldn't say carb because vegetables are carbs, but a starchy source. Like rice or quinoa or pasta, whatever it is. But the problem is more people have it switched and half the plate is a starchy carbohydrate.
Got it. I just had the idea that, they had those plates with the dividers.
Yes. Maybe we all need those.
That might be a great way to control or monitor the amounts that you're eating. By the way, little known fact, those plates with the dividers were invented by a very famous chiropractor by the name of B.J. Palmer.
Wow. I feel like you most commonly see them used for kids today.
But they were used, he probably invented them in the 1930s, if I had to guess.
Wow.
Anyway, we got off on a little tangent there. So back to brain inflammation. So a great meal is protein, fiber, in a salad, vegetables where you're getting some carbs, and maybe some starchy carbs.
Exactly.
And the green, let's call them green vegetables, some combination of that is half the plate. The protein is a quarter of the plate, and the starchy carbs are the other quarter.
Yeah, and to answer Sharon's question, what if you don't get full without a carb? You can still include carbs. You just don't want it to make up the entire meal, and you're probably not including enough fat. So make sure you're including like avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil, things like that to make up for it. And if you don't need big portions, but if vegetables are making you sick when they're cooked, then you likely have something going on in the gut, and we should evaluate that further.
So let's just go a little deeper on the fat, because fat is very important for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Good, healthy fats.
Like especially omega-3s.
So your protein should be a fatty protein like salmon.
That's a great option. Yeah, like any of the fatty fish are great options. Salmon, mackerel.
What are the other fatty fishes besides salmon?
So I like the SMASH acronym. Sorry, my phone. Okay. I like the SMASH acronym, which is salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, herring. Good way to remember it. A lot of people are like, I'll only eat salmon. Fine, but we'll take any of them. They're all high.
Personally, I'm a lover of anchovies and herring. So,
I like herring too.
Salmon, mackerel, what were the other three?
Salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring.
I'm a huge lover of sardines. My mother started serving me sardines when I was a kid, so I'm very used to them, and we eat them a lot.
It's so good. So good for you.
Yeah, they're great. Bristling sardines. I'm not promoting any particular brand, but King Oscar bristling sardines, wild caught, are amazing. Season also has bristling sardines, has the skin and small bones in them. So there's calcium in the bones, which are very easily digestible.
Tell everybody how you eat them.
I eat them a million different ways. I'll eat them on gluten-free bread, like a sandwich. I eat them on a salad. If I'm rushing and I need to eat something, I'll eat them out of the can with a fork. King Oscar has some varieties with some like little sauces in there. They have like a jalapeno sauce. I like spicy, so that's great. They have a little Mediterranean olive sauce, some more fat in there. I know a lot of people think sardines are gross, but I think they're awesome.
I agree with you.
Another thing that I do is sometimes I'll make it like a tuna salad. I'll mix it with some avocado mayonnaise. I mean, it's delicious. It's amazing.
Love it. Love it. That's so true though. Like instead of tuna, people can use canned salmon or canned anchovies or herring or sardines, and like literally mix it up with a little bit of avocado mayo, and you could trick a lot of people.
Exactly. I had anchovies over the weekend on a Mary's cracker with a little bit of cream cheese and an olive. So it was an anchovy, olive, cream cheese, Mary's cracker.
That sounds great. I love it.
Oh my God, they were amazing. I couldn't stop eating them.
Good for your brain.
So I'm feeling very smart today. Anyway, let's go back to brain inflammation.
So
some of the other causes of brain inflammation.
So sleep is another one. So not getting enough sleep can very much increase inflammation all over the body, including in the brain. But it's also been shown to negatively affect cognitive function, memory, aka it makes you moody and irritable. Like I don't think anybody disagree with that one.
So we've already decided, just for everyone out there in TV land, next week's podcast is going to be about sleep, because sleep is a natural extension from this conversation about the brain and memory.
Yep.
tied closely. We probably could make it part of this conversation, but we're going to leave it for next time.
Yeah. And the real like main reason that sleep, we'll talk about sleep more, but like why it impacts brain function so much is because basically we activate a system called the lymphatic system, which is basically like all the little cleaning people go around your brain, clean out all the gunk, get everything out. And basically it's like our brain's detoxing mechanism, and it really works well at night when you're getting deep restorative sleep.
So it's important to get that deep sleep to reduce brain inflammation, to make our brains healthier, and to have better memory and a more healthy, active, alive brain.
Yep.
So those people that think that they can get away with 5 or 6 hours of sleep during the week and then catch up on the weekend
doesn't work that way.
So if you want to have good memory, and as you age, maybe you can get away with that in your 20s, but it's going to catch up with you.
Yep.
Okay. What else can we do to reduce brain inflammation?
Exercise.
Really? What kind of exercise?
Honestly, even just so I'm debating how scientific to get, but if you know this, but if anybody's heard of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, it's activated through a lot of things, but especially exercise. It's basically a protein in our nervous system that is involved in the development of like various brain functions. So multiple types of activities, but especially exercise actually activate this BDNF. And so even just 10 minutes of aerobic exercise can enhance BDNF and support our brain, our memory, our mood.
How often does that exercise have to be done?
I'm not sure exactly like how. I mean, I think there's a lot of benefits for like your life to be working out at least in total 2 to 3 hours a week. In addition to getting 10,000 steps a day, that's a whole other conversation. But just even 10 minutes a day, if you can't get anything else, it will be enough to activate BDNF, which is important when we're talking specifically about the brain.
Are there any supplements or vitamins that people should take to help their brains?
Yes. So there's a whole category of supplements called nootropics, which if you're feeling like you need some brain support, they are essentially substances, supplements, herbs that really help support cognitive function. A few to name, and I can go into them, are magnesium L-threonate, so a specific type of magnesium, not just any magnesium. Lion's mane, which is a type of mushroom. DHA, which is fish oil, right? We've talked a lot about that. It's a type of fish oil specifically, though, to support the brain. What else is there? Bacopa.
Most of these nootropics are formulated together.
Yes.
So likely you're not buying one of them by themselves. You can find nootropics, as I said, together. Is there any particular one, not that we endorse anything or make specific recommendations to people, that, obviously you need to see your doctor or come in and to see us for really personalized recommendations. But is there any particular product that you like when it comes to nootropics?
No particular product, but I like one of the brand's Natural Stacks. They have a lot of really good nootropic options.
One that's out there that I've heard very good things about is Qualia. They make a few different products. The one is Mind. The name of the brand is Qualia.
Good to know. But yeah, some people benefit just from taking magnesium L-threonate, which I know you take a blend, right? Totally blanking on what it is, of various different types of magnesium.
Biooptimizers,
BioOptimizer.
but
Yeah.
I don't think that's in there. I
Oh,
don't
oh,
think
I'm
that
not
kind of
thinking
magnesium is in there. I think it's just
Oh,
glycinate and the basics.
got it.
Not the.
Got it.
What about caffeine for the brain?
It certainly turns on the mind, but too much of it is not so great either.
What do you call too much, and what's the negative of too much caffeine?
Well, too much caffeine can cause like anxiety, like people note that they're like shaking, it impacts your circadian rhythm, you don't sleep as well, which then has downstream effects. It depends on the person and the size, but ideally no one's having more than 1 to 2 cups a day.
Okay, so disclaimer, I don't have stock in caffeine. However, I'm a big proponent of caffeine. We've had this discussion, together in person. Unless you know that you get jittery from caffeine
Mm-hmm.
or caffeine keeps you up at night, I think the benefits of caffeine are many. And again, unless it keeps you up at night or gets you jittery, I don't think there's a lot of downside. Also, one of the problems with the American tradition of caffeine is that we drink too much coffee. The volume of coffee that we drink is not great. We should learn from the Europeans in this regard and drink a small espresso. And I do a few of those a day. Never keeps me up, never gets me jittery.
Oh, see, and I'm the opposite.
Well,
But
I
but
probably weigh
that's
100
because of our,
pounds more than you.
yeah, but I don't even think that's fully. I think it's also just like your caffeine metabolism, the way you metabolize it versus
Right.
the
And there's
enzymes.
also
It's not so bad.
metabolism and blah, blah, blah. So obviously, like with everything, you have to know what works for you. But yet there are tons of studies out there about the benefits of caffeine on the brain. And you have to be careful about the jitteriness and keeping you up at night. So those are my 2 cents.
Love it.
So we talked about brain inflammation. What else can we do to make our brains and our memories better?
So I kind of touched on this, but another one is technology, right? How many people do you know that are literally, sorry, I'm like trying to, how many people do you know that are literally addicted to their phones, addicted to any types of screens? The damage there is huge. And I think we're like learning that, unfortunately, kind of as we go, right? Because we're exposed to more and more technology every day. But just heavy technology use in general does cause brain inflammation and reduces memory. And
how does that work? How does screen use cause brain inflammation?
Well, first of all, we don't. Yeah, well, it's very addictive. It increases our impulsivity. It gives us anxiety. The actual what's happening, not 100%. Although if you think about it pretty simply, you don't have to really remember anything anymore. You can just Google it.
So funny you say that. I had a friend growing up. His father was an accountant. And when calculators came out, accountants always started doing things by calculator. And he's like, nope, I don't want my brain to go soft. I'm doing everything by pencil.
Smart guy.
So technologies, phones are newish, relatively speaking, but technology's been advancing for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, is there anything else that you want to add?
Nope.
Lastly is hormones. So high cortisol specifically can impact memory, which if you think about it, when you're really, really stressed, your memory declines. As does your overall cognitive function.
That's interesting. So, like when someone's in a car accident or something terrible happens,
That's interesting.
and they, afterwards they never remember it. Well, not never, but rarely do they remember the terrible situation. Is that because there was a jolt of cortisol?
It could be. It would make sense, right? Because your sympathetic nervous system is like on. Yeah, it's intense. I would imagine. But that's definitely part of it.
There's probably an emotional piece to it too.
Yeah.
But
it's probably
maybe
one of the
it's that combination.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that combination of things. We're going to sign off in just a minute. And Sharon, thank you for your questions. Are there any other questions about brain health, brain inflammation, memory? I hope this was helpful. It feels like we talked about a lot of things, but they were really important.
Yeah.
Really important. Maybe we need to break this down and do a deeper dive on individual subjects.
I know we could for literally all of these. But if you have, go ahead.
I was saying, and also next week we're going to talk about sleep, which is a direct shoot off of brain health and memory. Really important. Sleep is probably the most underestimated vitamin you can take for your health.
I agree. It's one of the foundations. If you're not sleeping, there's literally nothing you can do to supplement, out diet, outrun sleep. It's like the most important.
There's no hack to fix not enough sleep.
Yep.
And everybody wants a pill, and it just don't work that way.
Nope. And sleeping pills just give you poor deep sleep, so that's not a good option either.
Exactly. So get a lot of sleep.
And if you have questions about anything, just send Complete Wellness a direct message, or if you have questions specifically about sleep, do the same and we'll answer it next week.
Great. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Please join us next week for a very important podcast about sleep. We'll see you same time next week.